Hello everybody, Woodward here, and today I'm here with my first ever Prison Life V3 video. I'll be going over every single weapon and utility in this video. Utility meaning like taser, hammer, knife. So I'll explain the tiers before we get started. Meta is just the best tier weapons that you're going to see everybody running or using. A is like right below meta. It could be used just as well as a meta weapon, except it's a little worse, or people just don't use it as much for other reasons. B tier is like, it's aight, but you probably would want to use something else, but if it's a preference you have of using these weapons, it's perfectly normal. C tier is like, it's okay in some scenarios, but in most scenarios you want to be using a different weapon like a B rank or an A rank or a meta rank. And more than likely these aren't worth going out of your way to grab. D tier is like, you don't want to grab them, not even worth your time. And if they do, they serve a very minor purpose. And then you have no tier. No tier is just don't even consider picking these up. And with that out of the way, we'll begin our tier list with the taser. So this is a taser. Pretty good weapon. You can use it to catch criminals and arrest them. Usually the tased opponent will be on the ground for like 5 to 10 seconds. The taser can also be used for checking if a prisoner has a contraband or not, and you can kill or arrest them from there. If you tase them and they don't go down, they're innocent. But if you tase them and they have something, they'll go on the ground and do the animation. So you can kill or arrest them. Overall, this is the best utility in the game, and we're going to start with a good old A tier. Next, we have the weapon you start off with if you're a police officer. M9, 15 rounds, semi-automatic, good if you can tap it. Now, it's like a 6 to 8 hit to kill, but it's worth it if you know how to use it, and it's better than some other weapons. You get it to start, so it's good if you're being like spawn killed. You can use it to quickly tap and kill people, or at least severely damage them for people to finish them off. But normally this is a weapon you would mainly use in game, because you go right to the armory to pick other weapons up. It's more of a sidearm. If you have no like ammunition and in your middle of a fight, you will pull this out. So for that, I'll give it a D tier. Actually, I'll give it a C tier because it has some viability. Next, we have the MP5. You can only find this in one location currently, and that is the armory shop, which is kind of far out from the map. Now with this weapon, you get 25 rounds. You need a game pass to use it. I'm pretty sure it's the heavy armory one, and it isn't that good. I wouldn't really use it. It's kind of like a FAL, except a little worse, and shoots a little slower, but does a little damage as well. But I would never go out of my way to grab this, because there's much better things for you to grab at criminal bases. And usually this is like, you could consider it a side weapon maybe, but I'd actually just use an M9 over this, unless you get the one spawn that's right next to armory. I would never go out of my way to grab this weapon. So for that, I'll be putting this into D tier. So we have the Remington 870 next, and this is our first obviously meta weapon. It's a one hit to kill in fairly close ranges, and even in medium ranges you're going to do a 3 hit to kill with this weapon. It's very amazing. Easy to use, spread is very tight, so bullets are easier to hit with this weapon. And usually this is your main gun. This is my main gun. This would be in my first slot. So this is your main weapon. It's free as well, so everyone can use this weapon, and it's one of the best weapons because you can one tap people. So usually in a fight, this is what you want to pull out first, unless you could use a Remington 900, which I'll talk about later in the list. And you can finish them off with an M4A1 or a pistol or an Uzi or whatever weapon you have at that point, or other assault rifle. So easily a meta weapon, if not the best weapon in the game by far. Next, we have the Remington 900, and this weapon is really good. 1 shot to the head, 2 shots to the body, 6 ammo. It's kind of semi-automatic bolt action. You gotta wait a couple seconds before you shoot again, but you can switch it with a Remington or a assault rifle, which makes it very powerful. You can play long distance or like defend the person with it. Easy, good weapon to get kills with, that's I found so far. And overall, just a fun weapon to use. Is locked behind this Game Pass. but next update will be free, so this is going to be a big game changer when it becomes free. So this will go into the meta tier. Alright, next we have the M41. This weapon is free, 30 ammo, capacity, very fast fire, and the best assault rifle for free players, in my personal opinion. Easy to get for police officers, and good weapon to use if you're trying to finish someone off. If you got a Remington shot from 870 or 900, for example. You can use it. It's fairly quick, fast, and accurate, and you'll just obliterate the rest of their HP. Or you could even use it as a solo weapon. This is the best rifle in the game, in my opinion, currently. Though I would say, in my personal opinion, it's a weapon I'll talk about in a minute that is slightly better, in my opinion. But still, because it's free, it will get the meta rank, and because it's a good sidearm to use in combat, or even a main weapon. So its versatility alone will give it a meta tier. Next is what I consider the best assault rifle, but is kind of overshadowed by the M4A1. It's the FAMAS. 25 rounds, shoots fairly quickly, and does a lot of damage. It's like an upgraded SCAR. It is locked behind a Game Pass though, but in my opinion, it's worth it. This is one of the best weapons in the game. And this is what I use as a sidearm instead of an M4A1, except when I'm practicing with an M4A1, because this takes a little more skill. But overall, this weapon's pretty good if you know how to use it, and you aren't just spraying. If you're spraying away, this weapon wouldn't really be for you. But just because it's behind the Roblox paywall, I would give it an A tier, but I'm going to give it a meta tier just because of how good it is and versatile. You can use it, and it does a crap load of damage, so for that, it'll be in a meta tier. Next we have the second utility on this list. It's a hammer. You just use it to break out of the prison. It does crappy damage. It's like an 8 hit to kill. You would never really use this in combat. You'll just get killed very, very quickly. But it is used to break out of prison. But would I go on my way to grab it? Yeah, to break out of prison. So would I grab it to kill someone? No, I would not. For that, I'll give it a D tier, but it isn't bad at all for its intended purpose. Next we have an AS-50. This weapon is free to use in game. It's a 1 hit to the head, 3 hit to the body, I believe. It's under the bridge, so it's a very specific location. I would grab it if you had nothing else and you're a free player. But this is a very good weapon, but I would rather use a Remington, especially because it's going to become free soon. But the AS-50 is a weapon you can still grab. Now, it's actually kind of worth grabbing as a secondary weapon with your Remington, if you're a free-to-play user, or an AK, whatever. But it doesn't really have the damage, especially the 2-shot body, because it's going to leave your opponent still in like a yellow-green. So really, it's not really a game changer in my opinion. So it gets A tier. Next we have the SPAS 12. It's kind of like Remington. Doesn't really one-shot except like in very, very like specific scenarios. 12 rounds. Shoots a little quicker, but does a lot less damage and spreads worse. But honestly, I wouldn't go. It's free to use, but I wouldn't go out of the way to get it. Much rather I'd practice with a Remington and use that instead. Why I use a Remington? Because it's 1 hit, where at max a 3 hit. Well, the SPAS struggles to even get a 3 hit in range. Overall, this weapon's okay. I mean, you could double pump with a Remington, which is a plus, but would I really use it to double pump? No, I wouldn't. But it's free, and it's a cool item, but it doesn't really like have the expectations of a meta or an A tier weapon. So I will be putting this in B tier. Next we have the C4. This is part of the Mafia Game Pass. It's pretty expensive. Basically just drop a bomb, explode it after a couple seconds. This weapon is pretty bad. So you have to risk going by a door or a heavily armed location where it could easily be tased and arrested, rather than just playing a distance. You actually have to go close and risk being shot by a shotgun or assault rifle or a SWAT spammer. Overall, this really isn't worth using. I tried using it at one point, and really, you never use it. When you do, you only get one kill. So really, it's more of a troll than anything. So I'll give it a C tier. Next we have the knife. This thing's a 5-hit kill. Good to use on officers to get a M9 or to get a key card to escape prison. This is like an alternative if you're like good at killing people and can avoid shotgun shots from like newer players. It's right next to the hammer, so it's not really that badly grabbed. It's right next to a spawn as well. You spawn right next to it. But in the next update, it will be behind a crafting wall, paywall. I don't think it's worth it. So, but as it stands right now, it is a C tier weapon. After crafting, it'd probably just be a no. I wouldn't say it's worth it. Next, we have the Scar. The Scar is a free to use weapon with 25 rounds. Kind of slow to fire, but does a lot of damage. It's like a FAMAS, but kind of like carried a little back. But I still think it's pretty good to use. It's a second best assault rifle for free users, in my personal opinion. Pretty good, honestly. This is a pretty banger weapon if you like learn how to use it. And the aim to it is basically just tap and kill. Like that's all you got to do. Go over their body, they're dead after about 10 shots. So overall, this weapon's pretty good. Definitely worth going to get or going to grab before you go to the prison, and for that, I'd give it an A tier. Next, we have the minigun. As it stands now, this thing has 200 rounds. Very inconsistent. The next update, it will be consistent with 100 rounds. But as it stands now, this weapon is terrible. You will never even hit a shot in close range, and if you do, they can still kill you with a Remington, so you wouldn't really even win with this weapon without a shield. The weapon's fun to use, in my opinion. I love this weapon, but it's just really bad. And it's behind a Game Pass, so for that and all the other reasons I've listed, this will be our first no weapon. Next we have the FAL. The FAL is a 20-shot weapon behind the Mafia pack, which is a Game Pass. Think of the earlier what I said, the MAC, or yeah, the MAC. But it's on steroids, a little less ammo capacity. It's like a better Scar. It's a good side weapon, but it costs 300 Robux to use, and the other weapon you get with the Mafia Game Pass is pretty terrible, and the only thing people really buy it for is armor for criminal team. And for that, I'll give it B tier, but don't think it's a bad weapon. Next, we have the Uzi. 20 rounds, it's like an M9 except a lot worse. An automatic. Now, it does the job. But why would you pick this up when you can pick up an M4A1 in Remington and just go? And you don't even have to equip an M9. There's no point into grabbing this. This weapon's horrible. And honestly, if you can just tap quicker with an M9, just do that. This is only good for like mobile players, to be honest. I don't even know why. Unless this is buffed, I don't understand why this is in the game. So I'm going to give this a no tier. Next, we have the AK-47, a free to use weapon, 30 rounds. A classic weapon, but its hit to kill is absolutely terrible. I would never use this weapon. But it's very accessible at criminal bases. It's a good backup weapon with a Remington. Or on that classic setup. But really there's no reason to grab this when you can get a Scar or an M4A1 if you get into the armory later on. So for that, I will be giving this weapon C tier. Next we have the M249. This weapon will be getting a change in the update and looks 100. Right now it's 150 ammo, kind of accurate, more accurate than a minigun. Does decent damage, but it's like a 10 hit to kill, so you have to kind of mow them down. I wouldn't really use this when you have better options as a SWAT, like the FAMAS or M4A1. The only thing you got for this is you can spray and pray with it, but really, why would you ever use this? It's okay, it's better than minigun, but no one's really gonna use this unless you just want to have some fun, shits and giggles, you know. So for that, I'm gonna have to give it a. It's not worse than a MP25. I'm gonna give it a I'm gonna give it top of D tier, like very top of D tier. It could be C tier if it wanted to. But me personally, this is just because it's locked behind the Game Pass, and you would use an M4A1. Legit no reason. And finally, the last utility, the SWAT shield. Every fucking bacon hair's dream item. You soak damage up and kill everyone. This weapon is extremely toxic, or not weapon, shield. And luckily it's getting nerfed next update. But right now, it is top of meta. You could use any gun with such effective SWAT shield, and you'd be perfectly fine. And you'd be able to play the game perfectly normally without getting hit. So it's not in no particular order, but if it was, it's up there. It's higher than all these combined. Well, anyways, this is every single thing in Prison Life V5. If you could leave a like and subscribe, or a comment what I could change in the tier list, I'd love to see that. Anyways, that is it. Goodbye.